Welcome back to episode 4, which I'm calling The Waving Hand of Distraction. As I scroll through the news and social media, all I see are articles on COVID and racial tensions playing out, while so many important events go underreported, likely because they don't divide people and make good clickbait. Now, I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist or that it isn't an important issue. Simple-minded people will always exist, and the problems of unequal treatment should be addressed. But while people who generally agree on these basic principles argue over the intentionally limited information being spun in the news, our enemies remain focused on us, and our fate as a nation becomes more and more uncertain. Here are a few things you might have missed while you were arguing about vaccine passports. In Jordan, a significant U.S. ally in the Middle East, King Abdullah placed his half-brother, the former crown prince, under house arrest for supposed plotting. There's an ongoing military coup and violent crackdown on political opponents and citizens in Myanmar. The president of Chad, Idris Deby, died in a clash with rebels. Deby was known for resisting incursions from Nigeria and Libya, hosting hundreds of thousands of refugees from Sudan, and partnering with other nations on counterterrorism initiatives in the region. And all the while, people keep disappearing in China, although this one's no surprise as this story's been neglected for quite some time now. For those of you unfamiliar with this situation, I'll give a quick rundown here. Some of you may be familiar with the ongoing genocide of the Uyghur Muslims who are disappearing to re-education camps and forced labor camps where women are undergoing forced sterilization and families are being separated from their children. But the disappearances don't end at the Uyghur Muslims. In 2015 through 2017, there was a rash of disappearances of billionaires and executives. In 2016, a CNN article reported that over 500,000 elderly go missing each year. In 2018, 2 Canadian citizens were arrested, a popular Chinese photographer disappeared, a famous Chinese actress disappeared for 4 months, supposedly for tax evasion, and even a Marxist student disappeared, judging by their essay for hurting Xi's ego by revering Marx just a little too much. In that same year, the UN Rights Committee received reports of millions being held in camps. More recently, in early 2020, several outlets reported on 5 people being arrested or disappearing after speaking out on the handling of coronavirus in China. In August 2020, a human rights group reported that over 30,000 critics have vanished in a program called Residential Surveillance at Designated Location, a fancy name for detention and re-education centers. As of 2020, it was believed that at least 380 of these camps exist within China. As I scroll through news apps, I struggle to find a single article on these events. As I scroll through social media, all I see are arguments over the articles that news apps are pushing. And let's face it, they're pushing these articles because we're engaging with them. The only thing more scary than knowing this is all a waving hand to distract us from our own destruction is knowing it's our own goddamn hand waving in front of us. As I scrolled through the news today, I did notice foreign articles on U.S. affairs, including an article on a Supreme Court case over the First Amendment, ironically not covered in the U.S. news. In 1999, 2 Chinese colonels published a paper that is quickly becoming the blueprint to our destruction. In the paper, entitled Unrestricted Warfare, they lay out many of the tactics being used against the U.S. today. Despite the Chinese strict adherence to doctrine and telegraphing of over 20 years, we still can't seem to pull our heads out of our asses and see the freight train coming our way. We vote with our attention. News is no different from Netflix or Facebook. It will show you anything that keeps your eyes glued to the screen. We are the ones rewarding destructive behavior, and we must refuse to engage with sources that give limited information for the sake of pushing a narrative. The nature of clickbait is what it has become because of what we choose to click. We are shown what we reward. Your attention is a commodity. Be stingy with it and spend it on good causes, not in a way that funds our own destruction. And that's all I have for this one. If you want to get involved, you can follow me on Instagram at TBH_I may be wrong, or you can reach out with any questions, comments, requests for content on Gmail at tobehonestimmaybewrong@gmail.com. And remember, I may be wrong, but that ability to test ideas, learn, and grow is what makes this country great. So be honest, allow yourself to be wrong sometimes, and be fearless in the exercise of your rights.